Hello everyone, I'm Cody.
And I'm Liz.
And welcome to Unit 9, Podcaster Under Fire. So many of you maybe listen to some podcasts in the morning, throughout the day. And one specific podcaster in America, Joe Rogan is his name. He has a Joe Rogan podcast. And he likes to speak about anything and everything, any topic. You know, he's universally across the world. Many people subscribe to him. But he, like I said, speaks his mind. He shares anything. And while he originally was kind of viewed as more liberal by many policies in America, recently some seem to think he's a little bit more conservative based on views, he says, because he's come under a lot of fire recently with some of the discussions about the pandemic, his beliefs on vaccinations, even like transgender athletes and, you know, whether it's college level, high school, all levels of sports. And most recently, he kind of talked very strongly against sort of a vaccine passport system as being tyrannical under the American government. Transgender.
Transgender.
Tyrannical.
Tyrannical.
You know, people shouldn't be tracked. And he's invited a lot of questionable characters onto his show to talk about many universal topics. Nothing is withheld in his show. And that's why a lot of people say, you know, it's time to cancel him with this cancel culture. Or it's time to, you know, restrict, or his podcast on Spotify should be limited in some ways. But we'll talk more about other things he's talked about later. Universal.
Universal.
But how often do you listen to podcasts?
I don't listen to podcasts.
At all?
At all. So, yeah, if I have some free time and I want to listen to something, it's usually music. I see. I usually do think I'm a multitasker. So I'm almost never listening to something and concentrating on it. Podcast is a lot of talking. You have to actually pay attention to what they're saying. I like background music, but I never really listen to podcasts. How about you?
Well, I mean, I have listened to Joe Rogan, but I've listened to a lot of other podcasts too. Sometimes I like to listen to some of them on PBS about the news or some arts things, science things. But every day, maybe 30 minutes of podcasts of different things. They're usually 10 to 15 minutes. I don't listen to the hour-long podcast. That's just too much time. But if I do play it longer, I sometimes will play a podcast and I'll clean the house and listen. So kind of like you, multitask. I've done more podcasts recently than music. So I'm kind of opposite. But I do know Joe Rogan is the most famous in the U.S. I think he's number one based on subscriptions and listens and views.
Impressive.
But even though it's controversial, everything, he's still number one.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And now the language focused. First up, all to with an adjective. So for my example, these days, news of rising and spiking COVID cases is all too common.
Yes. Hopefully not by the time this video comes out.
Hopefully it's going down.
Fingers crossed. Okay, the second point is the only thing that was. So for example, after a really long day, the only thing that I want to do is crawl into bed.
That's nice. Just relax. All right, well that's it for our preview section. We'll see you on the review.